What is good, Sixer Nation? DFJ Hoops here, back again with another live stream. And I think as of right now, everybody knows what's going on with the Sixers. The latest news surrounding Joel Embiid, Paul George, the entire Sixers organization. So, that's what we're going to talk about. Have this article right here. We're going to get into it, and then we're going to break everything down. But as soon as y'all come in, please make sure you're sub to the channel. Smash the like button. Hit the bell notification icon if you haven't already. Salute to my guy, One Mike in the building. Appreciate you, bro. Boston Celtics fan. He says, "What's good? Salute. Not looking too good for the Sixers. Seems like it'll be a repeat of last season next year." Yeah, you might be right about that one though. I ain't gonna lie, bro. But yeah, appreciate you. Salute to my guy, Humble in the building. Appreciate you. DFJ, salute to the Philly. Nah, that's Gilly though. I ain't gonna lie, that's Gilly. I ain't nowhere near that. But appreciate you though. Appreciate you. But yeah, let's get right into it. So we see these two faces on the screen, these two players on the screen, um, dealing with injuries to their respective bodies. I mean, they're it's not even surprising that they're both dealing with knee injuries at this point in the off season. But so I think on Monday a report came out, whether it was a report or whatever, came out from Brett Siegel, and Brett Siegel has been really spot on when it comes to the Sixers. I think last off season when the Sixers made the Paul George signing, he wasn't really with the move. He wasn't really sold on that, and also he wasn't really sold on the moves that the Sixers the additional moves that they made in the offseason along with the Paul George signing, right? So if it comes to the Sixers, yeah, he's been spot on with his takes. And this is what he says. He says Joel Embiid's knee status is reportedly bad, raising serious concerns about his availability to start the season or even hold up for the long run. To make matters worse, Paul George is expected to miss the start of training camp as he continues recovering from knee surgery earlier this offseason. The Sixers' new era with Embiid, PG, and Tyrese Maxey might be full of promise, but right now, health is the biggest question mark. Right. So that's what he said. Now I got this article that I'm gonna put on the screen. I'm gonna share my screen right quick. And yeah, we're all gonna read it. So it should be on the screen as of right now. Yeah, so it says Joel Embiid Joel Embiid's ongoing knee issues create genuine concern about the 76ers' future, right? From Brett Siegel. Now, like I said, Brett Siegel has been really spot on when it comes to the Sixers. So now the Sixers haven't really said anything about this, but why would they say anything, right? Because they don't want to jeopardize their chances of making money for next season because they're trying to sell tickets. Now let's read this right quick and let's break everything down. So it says injuries have defined the 76ers through the years, preventing the team from maximizing its potential. More specifically, Joel Embiid's health and persistent concerns about his knees have led the 2022-2023 NBA MVP down a path where his future is very much in question. During the 2023-2024 season, Embiid missed a large chunk of the year after undergoing surgery for a lateral meniscus tear in his left knee. While he was able to return late in the regular season and participate in the playoffs, Embiid didn't look right. He only played 39 games during the 2023-2024 campaign. That immediate offseason, Embiid participated in the 2024 Olympics with Team USA and played a key role in helping USA basketball claim the gold medal. Even so, knee problems lingered for the 76ers star, and ongoing concerns carried over into the start of the 2024-2025 season. Now, him playing in the Olympics, like I said on this channel, I was in support of it because I thought that if he can get a little bit active in the Olympics, because in the Olympics he wasn't going to be playing 30 minutes or 35 minutes. I felt like him getting a little bit of action on the court that could potentially help him heading into the next season, which was the 24-25 season. So I was with him playing in the Olympics. Now, other people criticized him. People called him selfish for, jeopardizing his chances for the 24-25 season because people felt like he wasn't right. Now, when he got on the floor, obviously he didn't look good. He had a few good games, had his moments. I think against the Denver Nuggets, against the Serbian national team, he had his good moments. hit some shots, had a huge dunk. I think over Jokic or any of those defenders. But overall, it wasn't really a good outing. Right, his entire performance was not there, even though he was starting in a lot of games. But physically, he wasn't like the knees. You could tell was really bothering him. And on top of that, he had to wear that big ass knee brace, which that knee brace itself has more weight. Like that knee brace puts more weight on Joel Embiid. Like he's already 300 plus pounds, and then you got to put that big ass knee brace on. That adds additional weight to to his body. So it's not able to allow him to jump, and even though the injury itself is hindering him from jumping, from being a little bit athletic, his mobility out there on the court, that it really bothered him. So that's why people criticize him. But me personally, I was with it, which as of right now, I think that was a terrible take. He shouldn't have played in the Olympics, which I mean at this point doesn't even matter because the next season he only played 19 games. So yeah, me saying that he should have played in the Olympics, that was a bad take. And yeah, I'm definitely accountable for what I said. I'm gonna take accountability for it. Between the constant swelling and pain in his left knee, Embiid played in just 19 games, like I said, during the 2024-25 season before being shut down indefinitely, with the Sixers stating he was medically unable to play. Once again, Embiid underwent surgery in April to try and address his long-lasting problems, but it doesn't appear as if his issues have been solved. Embiid has struggled getting back on the court this offseason, and there's a growing concern that he will not be ready for the start of training camp, league sources told Clutch Points. Although word from Philadelphia surrounding the Star Center continues to be optimistic, and they expect him to return to MVP form, everyone else around the league does not share the same belief. Now, Philadelphia has to be optimistic, right? They got to be optimistic because in that same offseason, 2024, they signed him to a 3-year extension all the way to 2029, I believe. So they have to be optimistic. They can't tell the fans that they're concerned or they're thinking twice about the move. They have to be optimistic and sell hope to possibly sell tickets and make money for the next season, because if they don't do that, guess what? It's bad business. They're not going to sell tickets, and they cannot push hope to the fans. So yeah, they're not going to come out and tell us what's actually going on. But around the NBA, people within the NBA circles and stuff, they know what's going on, and they might not know the full story, but they have an idea of what's going on. And from what's coming out right now, it don't seem to be that positive, and that's why people around the NBA are very, very concerned about his long term career, because things are not looking good as of right now, right? So let me just go through a little bit of this, and we can unpack. Many have already made the comparisons of Embiid's knee problems to those of Los Angeles Clippers star Kawhi Leonard, who has missed countless games over the last several years and hasn't been ready for the start of the same seasons because of his knee issues. Um, yeah, but I think there's a huge difference right here, and the difference is that Kawhi Leonard is not 7 foot, 300 plus pounds. Kawhi is 6'7", probably 220, between 220 and 240, right? But Joel Embiid is very, very, he's a huge dude. So it probably takes more. It'll probably take him more than what it took Kawhi for him to, make a good recovery. And I think Kawhi Leonard has made a good recovery. He showed out against the Denver Nuggets in the first round, averaging like 25 points per game. And I think his defense was solid. It wasn't all the way great, but in my opinion, it was solid, and he was able to move laterally. He showed flashes of athleticism within that series, and then after the series, I mean, they got knocked out in the first round. He was still able to train and play, like simulate himself as if he was playing all the way to the finals, right? And that was according to the Clippers. So, anything they say, we got to take it as facts. So yeah, Kawhi Leonard, you can say is fully recovered as of. I mean, maybe not fully recovered, but he's in much better shape than what Joel Embiid would be in, because Joel Embiid has, that's a big dude, and it'll take him much longer for him to recover from his whatever he's dealing with, right? The common word associated with Embiid and his health this offseason is that things are bad. Several rival teams in the Eastern Conference who spoke with Clutch Points a couple weeks ago at NBA Summer League confirmed mixed signals coming from the Sixers regarding Embiid's knee health, with one executive stating that the 76ers are regretting their decision to extend the big man's contract in 2024. Another source close to the situation stated how these surgeries and countless rehab efforts have taken a toll on Joel Embiid mentally. And yeah, absolutely, because if you're having to go through surgery and rehab, like it takes a toll on you, right? It takes a toll on you, and it takes a player who's very, very mentally strong to come out of situations like that and still play at a very, very high level, right? This It takes a toll on your mental health, which I mean he has said that he's been speaking to he's been going to therapy, seeing counselors and whatnot. So that could be helping him, but it really takes a lot for somebody to go through problems like that and come back a stronger player. But Embiid deserves a lot of credit for battling through adversity every season of his career, as fans tend to overlook the physical and mental strain of playing in the NBA. The 76ers star, has proven to be a fighter, and he has remained motivated to get back on the court for his team. Now, that's absolutely true. I think Joel Embiid definitely wants to play, but it's just that the knee is not responding in the way that he would like it to, right? So the body, in a way, is kind of failing him. But knowing Embiid, knowing his passion for the game, Embiid definitely wants to get back on the court, but it's just not possible for him at this moment. Whether or not this will be achieved is the question at large this offseason, as this growing concern around the league for Embiid's health need has put the spotlight on the Eastern Conference on the Philadelphia 76ers. When you have a second surgery to attempt to fix the initial problem and then you continue to deal with delays and more complications, that's never a good sign. One member of an NBA team's medical personnel told Clutch Points, few players have been able to come back from multiple surgeries and injuries to the same part of their body, which is what Joel is trying to achieve. For him specifically, his injury history and knee issues go back to when he first entered the league. To even play at the level he has to this point is remarkable. Of course, everyone wants to see him back and 100% healthy, as the league is better with all its stars on the court. The reality here is that the damage has been done, and none of us can get word on if it's actually repairable. So that was from a medical staff from a team in the Eastern Conference saying that. Right now, shout out to Brett Siegel. He's been spot on, like I said, considering the Sixers. But reading this article right here, things do not. Oh, my screen wasn't shared this whole time. That's funny. Hey, my bad, y'all. My bad. Yeah, but let me just go ahead and yeah, I'm sorry about that, y'all. But yeah, things are not looking too good for Joel Embiid. Considering that he had the knee procedure all the way back in April, and then we're in August right now, and he's still not able to get back on the court. That's not a good sign, right? It's not a good sign at all. And then you add that to the fact that Paul George, on the other hand, also had to go through a surgical procedure, I think 2 weeks ago, to fix a knee problem or a knee injury that he sustained in a private workout a few weeks ago, right? So if you're Philly, two of your best players or two of your star players are not going to be healthy come preseason time. And preseason is about a month and a half away, right? Preseason is a month and a half away, and there's speculations that Joel Embiid might not be ready to go for preseason. Paul George might not be ready to go for preseason. And once again, it puts all the pressure on Tyrese Maxey. Now, like I said, Sixer fans are smart. Sixer fans are not dumb. Sixer fans are not I was about to use the R word, but nah, Sixer fans are not stupid. Sixer fans are very, very smart. I think Sixer fans, this current generation of Sixer fans is not the Sixer fans from back in the day. Like this current generation of Sixer fans, like they do a lot of research and they know what's actually going on with the team or with the team star players or best players. So even if the team is not telling us what's going on with some of these players, guess what? Some of us are able to do the research and see what's going on with the team. Now, whether you're right or wrong, I mean, who is to say? But the thing is that we're doing the research and we're not stupid. Even though the team is not telling us what's going on. Now, like I said, if two of your best players are not going to be healthy come next season, then guess what? It's just going to be a repeat of what happened last year. Like my guy One Mike just said a few minutes ago, right? And salute to him for that comment. Appreciate you. I don't know if you're still in here, but yeah, it's just going to be a repeat. And then Joel Embiid with his situation and his knee problems and things not being well. I mean, I'm hearing that he should hang him up, which me personally, I'm starting to agree, right? I'm starting to agree. Now, yeah, I was optimistic about his health, and I was under the impression that he was gonna get better, because Daryl Morey did say that, he's been talking to a lot of doctors, he's been going to therapy, going to rehab, and things are very, very good. Now, Daryl Morey is saying the right stuff, right? He's saying what he's supposed to say, but if Joel Embiid is dealing with any setbacks, he's not going to tell us, right? And Joel Embiid himself is not going to tell us what's actually going on. And that's why when he came out with the article, or when that article came out about him, I was a little like, I really wanted to know more if you're ready to go. Like, how are you feeling right now? Will you be ready for next season, right? All the stuff about the process years, I mean, that's in the past. I didn't really care about it. I just wanted to know his status and will he be ready to go come regular season time. Now, it's just a shame. It's just sad that it's going down this way. And then Joel Embiid, considering how much he really wants to play, it's just sad that he has to deal with this. And you got the fans saying that he should retire. And to his benefit, I think it would be better if he retires. But he just can't retire because the Sixers have invested a lot in him, right? The Sixers have invested a lot in him, so it's just going to be very, very difficult for the Sixers to just let him just retire. Now, if they go for the medical retirement, then guess what? The Sixers will be able to clear his money off the books. Now he's still going to get paid, right? He's still going to get paid. The Sixers are still going to give him his money, but um, I think he just doesn't want it that way. I think he really wants to play, right? And salute to my guy, Teacher Got Game. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. He says, like Kendrick said, we're gonna be all right. Yeah, we is, but at the same time, we're not gonna be all right, bro. But yeah, salute to my guy, bro. Appreciate you. Appreciate the love and support. But yeah, I think the Sixers can go for the medical retirement and then get his salary off the books and then go from that way, even though he's still gonna get paid, but it's just not gonna count towards the cap. Which I think that would be the perfect. I think that's the best solution at this point if he's not going to be able to play, because it's like, why pay him if he's not going to be able to play and then his salary is counting towards the cap. But if you can play and then you go for the medical retirement, then guess what? You can get it off the books, and once you get it off the books, guess what? You can get somebody else to fill that void. Now, obviously, you're not going to get a player of Joel Embiid's caliber, but still, you can get somebody to replace that void, and you can build a team that way. But as of right now, it's just not looking good. It's not looking good for the Sixers, because they have two of the worst contracts in basketball, with Joel Embiid making upwards of 50 million, and then Paul George also making upwards of 50 million. So it's just not good for the Sixers at this point. And if Joel Embiid gets waived, guess what? Daryl Morey might lose his job, right? Daryl Morey might lose his job, and I think that's not something that he really wants to happen, right? Nobody wants to lose their job. Honestly, I do not care what we look like until 2028, 2029. That's interesting. I mean, I do care in the sense of, I mean, we're paying these guys a lot of money. And if you're paying these guys a lot of money, then you should get the return on your investments. Now, if they're not able to get back on the court, then guess what? We have to find solutions for that. So if you're gonna waive him, trade him, medically retire him, like you gotta find a way to get that salary off your books, right? You gotta find a way to get that off the books, and that's what the Bucks did, right? They waived Damian Lillard, and they stretched out his salary for the next 5 years, 5 or 6 years, whatever that is, and then also I think Kevin Garnett was in the same situation with the Boston Celtics. Now he wasn't hurt, but I think with his salary, he did it in such a way that he was getting paid all the way up until 2019, 2020, right? He stretched it all the way to pause if necessary, but he stretched it all the way up to 2019, 2020. He was still getting paid. Now, it wasn't on the books, but he was still getting paid by the Boston Celtics. So I think the Sixers, at this point, the Sixers can go in the same direction with Joel Embiid, go for the medical retirement and try to get that salary off your books, and then you can go from there. Teacher Got Game says we just can't let OKC get a lottery pick from us. I mean, yeah, we did secure this, and OKC is very, very good, right? They're a very, very good team, or a great team, and for them to get another lottery pick from us, that's not going to be good. But I mean, we're able to secure VJ Edgecombe, and I think I'm gonna talk about this later on in a few minutes, right here. I'm gonna talk about this in a few minutes, right? It's over. The Sixers don't know what they be doing. Yeah, salute to Tuna Sports, Cleveland Cavaliers content creator. Y'all can go follow him. Yeah, I think the extension, yeah, it was they definitely didn't know what they was doing. But according to reports, they said that because they signed Paul George, Daryl Morey was just, he just wanted to give Joel Embiid his extension to not create any problems. That's why he signed him. But also they said that they talked to 6-7 doctors, and then what the doctors told them was that yes, his knee's gonna get fine. It's gonna be good in the next few years. But as of right now, it's not looking too good, and it's making that contract look very, very terrible. Right? It's not making them look very, very terrible. They champions. Put some respect on their names. Who's champions? The Thunder? Yeah, they champions. Yeah. But yeah, so the Sixers have to find a way to deal with this Joel Embiid situation. Now, again, we don't know what's actually going on. Maybe Embiid is actually doing better than what the report is saying. Maybe the situation is much worse than than is being told. So I think at this point, if it's as bad as the report is suggesting, then the Sixers need to find situations for that. Right? You got to find situations for that. I mean, you got to find solutions for that. Right? You got to find solutions for that. And I think the best thing to do is the medical retirement. I think that's the best thing to do because you get it off your books, but you still get to pay him. So that can kind of be a thank you money for Joel Embiid for all the years, all the good seasons that he gave the Sixers, even though the Sixers never got to a conference finals. They never got to the finals. At least he made the Sixers relevant once again, right? He made the Sixers relevant after those terrible process seasons where the Sixers were only winning 10 games in the regular season. I think we all saw Joel Embiid develop and turn into an MVP caliber player, even winning the MVP. But we were never able to compete for a championship. So that's kind of like thank you money. So the Sixers just need to deal with that and then move on to the next problem. And the next problem is this guy right here. Right? The next problem is this guy right here. Now, Paul George, we all know, and Tune In Sports has been telling me numerous of times that Paul George doesn't really care about basketball anymore, right? He's more in a podcasting, and he is slowly but surely transitioning into the podcast world. And once he is done with this contract, me personally, I don't think he's gonna play anymore. I think he will just go all the way into he'll be a full-time podcaster, and that's kind of sad. That's kind of sad, right? It's very sad because he did express that he wants to compete for a championship. That being one of the biggest reasons why he left the Clippers to come to the Sixers, because he believed that he can win a championship. Now, at the age of 35, right, in year 15, year 16, I mean, you do question how hungry he is in terms of wanting to win a championship. And I don't think that hunger is there anymore. Even when he was playing on the court, Daryl Morey's trash. Yeah, we know. Even when he was playing on the court, you can tell, sometimes he was very, very engaged. So other times, not really so. Sometimes playing like he was playing at a park, not taking that craft very, very seriously. And yeah, I mean, I don't think at this point, he really cares about it. So I think once they deal with the Joel Embiid thing, the next thing for them to do is to try to get rid of Paul George's contract. Now it's going to be very, very difficult. I think the only way they can trade Paul George is they would have to attach other draft picks or other assets and then make it a 3-team trade, right? So if they make it a 3-team trade, guess what? Paul George, whatever team he lands on, which it could most likely be the Utah Jazz, right? So if he gets on the Utah Jazz, guess what? He's gonna, seek the buyout, and whether he wants to play again or whether he wants to retire, he can just retire and then go into become a full-time podcaster, which I think at this point that's what he really wants to do. So I think it'll be good for both sides. It'll be good for both sides. So you get rid of Paul George's contract, you get rid of Joel Embiid's contract, even though you're not, technically you're not getting rid of Joel Embiid's contract. You're still going to be paying him, but it's just not going to count towards the cap, towards the salary cap. So I think that right there kind of solves the Joel Embiid, Paul George problem, in my opinion. Salute to my guy, Rap Guy Reloaded. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. Salute. Sixers are a rebuilding franchise. I can't stand Daryl Morey. He's one of the worst GMs to make decisions. I mean, at this point, yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you, right? At this point, I'm gonna have to agree with you because, yeah, it was bad business to extend Joel Embiid, knowing fully well that he was dealing with severe knee injuries, right? So it was definitely bad business. Absolutely. I would have never paid him or PG. I'm just being honest. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people would have approached it very, very differently, right? A lot of people would have approached it very, very differently. But hey, that was Daryl Morey's way of approaching free agency, having 60 million plus in cap space. That's how he decided to approach it. So I think me personally, yes, I would have approached it very, very differently too. But hey, that's how he chose to handle it. So anything that comes with it, he has to live with it. So yeah, he said it was bad business. I mean, at this point, yeah, because things are not looking good in Philly. But let's talk about life after Joel Embiid, right? Once you get rid of Joel Embiid's contract, once you get rid of Paul George's contract, and I see a lot of y'all in the building, appreciate y'all. Smash the like button if you just tuned in. Also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But yeah, I think as of right now, the Sixers are, they have a core young guys who they could, start to develop. And like my guy, Rap Guy Reloaded just said, the Sixers are a rebuilding franchise, right? I think at that point, you got Maxey. Now we don't know if Quentin Grimes is going to re-sign with the team. Um, and he want to comment on the Lakers bubble championship when he can't even build a championship team. Throwing shots at Daryl Morey, huh? Nah, let's hold on now. Let's not do that. Daryl Morey has built championship teams in the past. Now, unfortunately, they didn't win the championship, but we're not going to sit up here and act like the 2017-2018 Houston Rockets team wasn't a championship team. Now, I don't like Chris Paul. I hate Chris Paul, but I'm not going to use the hatred I have towards Chris Paul as the reason why they wasn't a championship team, because they really was, right? They won 68, 69 games. That was definitely a championship team. They were just unlucky that they ran into Golden State and that bum Chris Paul got hurt. So that wasn't their fault, but that was all Daryl Morey. You gotta give it to him. We should have traded Joel Embiid to the Knicks and got a haul. Yeah, I remember. Was it 2024, 2023, where they were saying that they're gonna give us Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, and a shit ton of picks. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're not lying, bro. That would have been robbery right there. But yeah, that's true. But I mean, I don't know if it was 2023, but I wouldn't be comfortable trading the reigning MVP. I mean, has it ever happened before? Has No, I think it has, but that was back in the 60s, right? I think Wilt Chamberlain won MVP in 1968, and then he got traded to the Lakers. But it don't really happen that it's rare that it happens. It's very, very rare that the league MVP gets traded. So Yeah, I think it happened with Will Chamberlain. Now I don't know if it happened after that, because I mean Charles Barkley got moved in '92, and then the next season he won MVP. Right, the next season he won MVP. Now I don't know a league MVP that won it and that offseason got traded. I can't remember. Right, y'all can refresh my memory, but yeah, I just wouldn't have felt comfortable. But in 2024, yes. I mean 2024 too. I mean he had a good outing against the New York Knicks. I mean, which you would have gotten a decent deal for Joel Embiid, but I mean I don't know. Right, that's true. That's true. Moses Malone won it in 1982 and then got traded, and then won it the next season with the Sixers. That's true. That's true. But I mean, I think that's a little bit I think there's context that goes with it, because he was a restricted free agent and Houston had gotten a new owner and they didn't want to pay him, so they agreed to trade him to the Sixers. Right? They agreed to trade him to the Sixers. But I mean, yeah, I mean he still got moved. So yeah, that's true. But what I was saying was the Sixers have a core of young guys who once they move Joel Embiid, because once you get rid of Joel Embiid, once you medical retire him, which it sounds funny, but once you go for the medical retirement, guess what? Paul George has to get moved too. Because it makes no sense for Paul George to be here if Joel Embiid is not here, right? It's just going to be like Brooklyn, where after they traded Kyrie Irving, they just had to move Kevin Durant too, right? So after trading Kyrie, they got rid of Kevin Durant. So I think it's going to be the same thing with Paul George. So you're going to have to get rid of those two guys. But once you get rid of those two guys, you have a core of young guys who you can develop. And yeah, it's going to look ugly. It's not going to look too good. The Sixers are going to be competing in the play-in, right? The 7th to 10th seed. That's what they're going to be battling for. Because if you have an all-star caliber player with a bunch of role players, your team is just not going to be that good, right? Your team is just not going to be that good. And sometimes, it takes a lot of patience for, an all-star to be in that kind of situation and still rock with the team. Because we've seen other guys who have been in similar situations like that, and guess what? They asked for a trade. So if Maxey, if Maxey wants to go with it and develop with these younger guys, then yeah, it will be good for the Sixers, because you have one of the best young guards in the game. Now, somebody asked was if Tyrese Maxey was a top 5 point guard. No, he's not. I don't even think he's a top 10 point guard. Right? I don't even think he's top 10. But I think he can develop into it. Right? I believe he can definitely develop into it. But once you got Maxey, once you got VJ, I think VJ is going to develop into an all-star caliber player. I think the Sixers have a core of young guys who can, develop, and then, not be a championship caliber team, because, Maxey cannot be the best player on a championship caliber team. I'm sorry, Sixer fans, but I think that's the truth. Tyrese Maxey cannot be your best player if you're competing for a championship, right? I think you need a superstar to go along with a Tyrese Maxey. I think Maxey's a second or a third best player on a championship team. He cannot be number one. But if Maxey's your number one, then guess what? If Maxey's your number one with a bunch of role players, yeah, you're going to be competing for the play-in, and maybe sometimes you're probably going to be in the lottery. So, yeah, Embiid's the only MVP that can make the Eastern Conference Finals. That's true, and Sixer fans can't rebuttal that. There's no rebuttals for that. So, yeah, Joel Embiid's health scare. This is how we are phrasing this now. Hey, Sporting Page, you always got. Oh my god! But yeah, salute to the Sporting Page though. Historical page, salute to him. But yeah, that's how we're health scare. Hey, you got any suggestions? But yeah, once Tyrese, I don't think Tyrese can take another step. I think that's the best that he can ever be. Now, maybe that's me underestimating his abilities, but I mean, watching him, I've been watching him for the past few seasons, and I think there's a certain level that he has to reach in order for this Sixer team. If this Sixer team is going to be, on the same level as a Joel Embiid led team in the regular season, I think there's another level that Tyrese Maxey has to reach in order for the Sixers to be among that company, right? Who's your favorite player? AI, Allen Iverson, and it's not even close. But yeah, I think Maxey would have to reach another level if the Sixers are going to be a top team in the Eastern Conference. But if Maxey's your best player, and then your second options are Quentin Grimes and some of these other players, yeah, you're going to be in the play-in. So I think it would be, once that happens, I think that'll be the Sixers' time to be trash, right? That'll be the Sixers' time to be trash. And every team goes through it, right? Every team goes through it. I mean, we went through it last season, right? We went through it last season. Embiid underachieved. With all the injuries, I mean, I don't know. With all the injuries, he did pretty fine. I mean, 2021 was the best time, but we know what Benny the Bust did. So we know what Benny the Bust did. What do you mean there's time to be trash? The time has been now, brother, respectfully. Now, I'm just saying, once you get rid of Joel Embiid and Paul George, officially, it would be time to be trash. Because Sixer fans, I mean, I also believe that if you have Joel Embiid playing, you're not going to be trash. But if Max is your best player for the most part, or for a season, without no Joel Embiid and Paul George, yeah, your team is going to be trash. So, yeah, it's time. It's time for the Sixers to accept that it's time to be trash, right? It's time to be trash. The Lakers went through it. Golden State went through it. Uh, the Sixers is trash. Pete, hey, salute to the fakers. Now the fakers, I'm gonna get on you when the season start with that bum Chris Paul and the Clippers. I ain't gonna say shit right now, but yeah, salute to the fakers though. When you keep Embiid and George, the time is now to be trash. I told you last year they must let it go and rebuild. Yeah, you did say it last year. I thought they had a chance. I mean, me personally, my how I approached it was I knew Joel Embiid was gonna miss time, but I didn't expect Paul George to also miss time, to miss half the season, right? Because I believe that Paul George and Tyrese Maxey could at least compete from the third seed up until the sixth seed. Like within that range, I think that those two players could have helped the Sixers get to the third or sixth seed. But they both dealt with injuries, and there's nothing anybody could do about it. And even when they played, they were trash, right? But yeah, Sporting Page, I agree with you. I was wrong. Now listen, when I'm wrong, it's not hard for me to accept or admit that I'm wrong. I was wrong last season, yes, and I take accountability for it. But yeah, I think officially, I think the Sixers should expect to be trash. We should expect we should expect the team to be trash if it's being led by Tyrese Maxey with no other All-Star caliber help or any All-Star caliber player. Now with Quentin Grimes, if he returns, because we don't know what's going on with him, but if you got Quentin Grimes coming back next season, then yeah, the Sixers might be in the play-in, but you're still going to be trash because if you're in the play-in and even if you make the playoffs, guess what? One of these teams are going to bounce you out in the first round. The Knicks will wrap the Sixers up, package them, and send them home in 5 games. Other teams are also going to do the same thing. The Cleveland Cavaliers will wrap the Sixers up, package them, and send them home in 5 games. Right? We saw what they did. We saw what they did to the Heat. Right? They set a record on the Heat. So, yeah, I like Paul George. This is not on George. I shouldn't have said his name. It's on Embiid and only him. Nah, you got to give Paul. Nah, we not doing that, bro. You got to give Paul George some blame too, because when he was on the court, he didn't do shit either. When he was a second option, there were multiple and countless games where Kelly Oubre was outplaying him. So no, we not doing that. Embiid gets the blame. He gets the majority of the blame, yes, but Paul George also gets blame. And Paul George is my favorite player, but no, we not doing that. No, we're not doing that. But yeah, I think it would be time for VJ, for us to watch VJ develop into an all-star caliber player if he has that in him. I believe he does have it in him. Now it's up to the Sixers to bring that out of him, right? It would be up to the Sixers to bring that out of him. And then you got also younger players like the Adem Bonas, um, Other younger players on. I'm forgetting. We just picked up was it Jabari Walker, right? So you got Dembona, Jabari Walker, Trenton Watford. Hopefully if Jared McCain, I haven't even said Jared McCain's name this whole stream, but you got Jared McCain also who could be a very young good player, possibly an all-star. I don't think he I don't think it's going to be that soon, but he could definitely give you some all-star caliber moments within the season or within a game. But for an entire season, it's just not gonna be yeah, it's just not gonna be it's not gonna happen that way. But Jerry McCain is a very, very good, very, very good guard. I thought he could be the Peyton Pritchard for the Sixers, or the Deuce McBride for the Sixers, right? Coming off the bench and being a microwave scorer with Paul George and Joel Embiid, obviously, because I thought those guys would be healthy, but as of right now, there's no signs that they're going to be healthy. They're not even going to be ready for preseason, right? And if you want to win a championship, it starts in training camp, preseason, regular season, and then the postseason, and then you look to do something special. But if you're not even going to be ready for preseason, then your hopes of winning a championship is just not going to manifest. So yeah. But if those two guys are not going to play and you're going to get rid of those two guys, then guess what? Jared McCain might end up having a huge or a bigger role, right? And if he has a bigger role, he will be able to do some special things with his ball handling skills. I mean, he's not that great of a ball handler, but I mean, he's able to make plays. He's able to score. He's able to shoot the ball. His defense, not very there, but on the offensive side of the floor, yeah, he can definitely light you up on any given night. On a Tuesday night in Charlotte, he can hit you for 9 threes, right? He can hit you for 9 threes on a Tuesday night in Charlotte. He's capable of doing that. But are you going to be successful with that way? No, but you're going to have your moments, right? There's going to be moments, but in terms of being a high caliber, championship contending team, it's just not going to happen that way. And if the Sixers would want to get back to that level, they're going to have to make a couple of trades, right? They're going to have to make a couple of trades, get a very impactful player, because once again, Tyrese Maxey cannot be your best player on a championship team, right? Maxey cannot be the best player on a championship team. So you need to trade for a first option, right? You got to trade for a first option. Now, if it's going to take Tyrese Maxey to get a quality first option on the Sixers, then so be it, right? Then so be it. But I don't think that'll be very, very feasible, because I think you got to have somebody, you got to have a guard of Maxey's caliber on your team, right? Maxey, McCain, Grimes, right? I think that's the blueprint for a championship team, right? Having very, very good guard play. That's the core of a championship team. And then your high caliber, your best player, preferably a forward or a center, along with your core guards, and then you have your bench pieces. I think yeah, that's the championship formula right there. That's the DFJ formula. Oh my god. Sporting Page says you can't blame George. He got scammed by Joel Embiid. PG is so you a PG fan, so yeah, you're gonna make excuses for him. But if you watched how Paul George played last season and you don't give him any blame whatsoever, then Sporting Page, I'm sorry, you a fanboy. Right? You a fanboy. And you're doing the same thing that the Laker fans or the fake Laker fans be doing with LeBron James. So I gotta call your ass out. Right? So yeah, but that's just that was just by the way. Embiid's Embiid's wearing an NBA costume. That's funny. Oh man, McCain is you guys' best player with Tyrese Maxey. Holy cow, this team is literally in hell. We will pray for you guys, bro. Sporting Page says you're in the new era of modern Glazers, DFJ. The new era loves to blame quote unquote secondary players rather than the head of the team. I just said you give Joel Embiid the majority of the blame, but Paul George also gets blamed for last season. Even Maxey too. Because Maxey in certain games was chasing too much glory, that he jacked up a bunch of shots, and then guess what? The Sixers ended up losing games. I did say that. Right? I said that. I give Joel Embiid the majority of the blame. Yes, but Paul George also gets blamed. You can't call me no glazer, bro. This is an anti-glazing page. We don't glaze over here, bro. We don't do that over here. So Eric Gordon is still on the team. Yeah, but he's on a 1 year contract. So after he plays this season out, he's done. After Kyle Lowry plays this season out, he's done. Nick Nurse, yeah, you brought up Nick Nurse, but Nick Nurse might end up getting fired, right? He might end up getting fired. And then the Sixers are gonna go in a new direction, which would be, develop the young guys and see where it goes from there. So they will be in a way rebuilding, right? They will be rebuilding. He says, "You're not a glazer." I agree. I said you come from that era, but you're overcoming. I appreciate your work. No, I'm not from that. I'm from the 2000s. We not doing that, though. I'm from the 2000s. I'm from the AI era, the Kobe era, the T-Mac era, the Vince Carter era, the Marbury era, the Shaq era, the Tim Duncan. That's my era. So you can't put me with these. Can't put me with these little kids. We not doing that. You're from that era, brother. It's okay. Nah, I'm not. Nah. But yeah, if the Sixers go in that direction, yes, the Sixers will be trash, and yeah, it would be teams are gonna set records on the Sixers. Philly will just be a game on the calendar for the best teams where you just get to add to your win column, right? You just add to your win column. Games against the Charlotte Hornets, the Washington Wizards, like those are not games that you really count. Like they're just games that you pad your win columns with, right? You just added to it, right? You just added to it. Games like that, you don't even prepare for it. You don't go for shoot arounds. When you get to the games, you don't even stretch because it's going to be easy work, right? So the Sixers are going to be in that situation, but it depends though, because from current reports coming out, I think that the Sixers are trying to go in a different direction and try to build a defensive type culture, defensive identity with the younger guys and see where it goes from there. Talk your talk, DFJ. The best era too, one of the best. The 2000s, absolutely. So DFJ is admitting that the league is watered down with that statement. The sporting page will call back to that when he makes historical references in the future. What statement though? That certain teams you add to your win columns by playing certain teams. I mean, that happened in the 90s with the Toronto Raptors, the Memphis Grizzlies. I mean, what are we doing? There are teams like that in every era. Terrible teams in every era. So I'm not saying that this league is watered down. It just happens. There are good teams. In every era, there are great teams and there are terrible teams. It is what it is. Right? So great teams in every era benefit from playing terrible teams. That's happened numerous of times. Right? That's happened. Hell, MJ was 29-1 against expansion teams. Was he not? 29-1. So he benefited from playing terrible teams. LeBron benefited from playing terrible teams. Golden State benefited from playing my Sixers in 2016 when they only won 10 games. So they benefited off that trash team. It happens. It's not talking down on Jordan. See, it's not that's not what I'm doing. It's just stating facts. He benefited from playing terrible teams. LeBron James benefited from playing terrible teams. LeBron benefited from playing my Sixers in 2016. Curry benefited from that team. Kevin Durant benefited from that team. everybody did benefit from the Sixers. I'm not talking down on Jordan. It's just what happened. But what you was trying to do is you're trying to shit on this era and try to make it seem like in the previous eras that wasn't happening, when that was happening all the way from the 90s, even in the 80s, right? That was happening too. So yeah, we're not doing that, bro. We're not doing that. But I just want to hear y'all thoughts. Like, what do y'all think is gonna happen with Joel Embiid and Paul George, right? Because yeah, we know it's not looking good. Control what you. Yeah, it's not. It's not. Yeah, it's not Mike's fault. It's not his fault that they added expansion teams to it's not his fault. It's not Curry's fault that the Sixers only won 10 games, right? It's not LeBron's fault that, he played terrible teams. You can only play whoever's in front of you, right? You can only play whoever's in front of you. But the Sixers will be one of those teams next season if, they can't get their best players on the court, and it's just going to be sad, right? It's just going to be sad. The Sporting Page has never shitted on this era. The Sporting Page watches and supports. But my guy DFJ is upset because of his birth year. See, there you go with this shit. There you go with this shit. You call players in this era soft. So how is that not you shitting on this era? You call them soft. You, KB, J Fool, and all those clowns. Nah, they're not clowns, but all those guys, they call this era soft. Y'all disrespect this era all the time. But when I point out a fact, that's me shitting on MJ's era. I'm not shitting on MJ's era. Right? I'm not doing that. I would never do no such thing. Right? I would do no such thing. But yeah, like I said, the way forward would be, the younger guys, and hopefully they can retool the roster and try to trade for an impactful player or somebody who has the intangibles to be a first option on a championship team. And if that can happen, then yeah, the Sixers would be in the contention picture in the next 2, 3, maybe 4 years. But if that's not going to happen, then the Sixers are going to have to develop the younger guys. They're going to have to develop the VJ Edgecombs, the Jeremy McCain, the Adem Bonas. That's your core right there, right? That's your core. So with that core, whether you're going to be a championship team or a terrible team, that will be yet to be determined. But that will be the Sixers core. And whether they're going to be successful or not, I mean, who is to say? I mean, I can't predict how good a player is going to develop into. I don't predict who's going to be a bust and who's going to be great. I'm not in the business of doing that. But younger players develop at different rates, right? It might take player A, if player A and player B are young players, it might take player A very, very long to develop, but player B, it might take him a very short time or a short amount of time to develop into a very impactful caliber player. And I think that could be he says this kid, if the VJ kid is something, it'll salvage things. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I think so. And I think he has that, he has that mentality, that dog mentality of wanting to get better. And I think, with that mentality, that's very, very good because that's what the Sixers really need at this point, right? That's the kind of mentality. These are the caliber of players that the Sixers really need, right? Somebody who is not very complacent, like Benny the Bust, somebody who accepts his flaws, unlike Benny the Bust, and somebody who would be willing to work on his weaknesses and try to turn them into strengths, unlike Benny the Bust. Right? That's what I see from VJ Edgecombe. That's exactly what I see from him. So, playing team, I mean, next season, I don't. So, if Embiid and Paul George are not playing, the Sixers are not a playing team. They're not. Right? They're not going to be a playing team. Absolutely not. Because there are other teams that are going to be very, very good next season. Atlanta is going to be very, very good. Orlando, I'm very, very high on Orlando. I mean, Cleveland, obviously. New York, obviously. Boston is going to be better than the Sixers, even though they have no Jason Tatum. They're still going to be better. Other teams are going to be better. Miami's going to be better than the Sixers. What other team? Milwaukee's going to be better than the Sixers. I mean, shit, Chicago might be better than the Sixers, right? Chicago. Um, Now the Sixers might be in the same ballpark as the Washington Wizards, the Charlotte Hornets. They might be better than those teams, but you're still going to be out the top 10. So, yeah, but if you go in the direction of these younger guys, yeah, you will be trash. You will be terrible, but it's okay, right? It's okay to be trash. OKC was trash a few years ago, right? They were trash, but guess what? Those players developed into what they developed into, and then guess what? They won the championship. Now, it's not. I'm not saying that the Sixers' younger players are gonna develop into, high caliber players and then win a championship. No, that's not what I'm saying. But if they develop the right way, yeah, they can get to that contention picture. Now, whether they're gonna win a championship or not, I mean, who is to say? But yeah, that could definitely put you in the contention picture. He says, I don't know. The Wizards might make a leap. Um, into the play-in, I don't think so. I mean, the Raptors are going to be better than the Sixers because they have I like what the Raptors are doing. They have a core young guys too that are very, very hungry, trying to get better, and they beat the Sixers all 4 times last year, I believe. Right, so they're going to be better than the Sixers. The Sixers might be better than Charlotte, and a couple other teams, right? And this is all to say if Joel Embiid and Paul George are not playing. Now, if Paul George is playing, yeah, the Sixers will be in the play-in. But if Paul George is not playing, and it's just Maxey as the sole all-star on the team, and then a bunch of role players, then yes, the Sixers are not going to be in the play-in, right? Because Maxey by himself is not good enough to lead you to the play-in. And it hurts to say this, but that's just facts. That's just the reality of it. And I'm not trying to talk down or underestimate Maxey. It's just that his game is not able to elevate teams to that level, into playoff contention or play-in contention, right? He's just not going to be able to do it. He needs more help. Maxey needs a lot of help around him, right? Because if the defense is focused on him, he's cooked. He might jack up a bunch of shots, get his numbers, but if he don't got no other all-star around him, it's going to be terrible for him. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with it. But who knows? Maybe VJ might have a remarkable rookie season, maybe better than man, I ain't gonna say no old school player because Sporting Page might get on my helmet, but maybe he has a remarkable rookie season and it aids the Sixers into the play-in or maybe possibly into the playoff picture. But I mean, still, you're not gonna do anything because you ain't got no superstar. If you ain't got no superstar, you're not winning. You ain't getting to the conference finals. Let's just put it that way. If you don't have a superstar on your team, you're not getting to the conference finals. Not in this Eastern Conference. Right? Not in this Eastern Conference. But yeah, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Appreciate my guy One Mike in the building always. The Sporting Page pulled up, to make excuses for Paul George. And that's the Sporting Page. You sad for that, to be honest with you. You as a sad individual for trying to make excuses for Paul George. Right? You're sad. You are very, very sad. But yeah, what's next for the Sixers? If those 2 players are gone, the Sixers will be rebuilding. Will be one of the terrible teams in the NBA, and that's where they're going to go from. Right? A lot of personalities are going to get fired. Daryl Morey might get fired. Nick Nurse might get fired, even though it might not be Nick Nurse's fault, but he might get fired. Right? The vet players are going to be let go, and the Sixers are going to be just all younger players, and that's where they're going to go from. Yeah, PG is going to transition into content creation. What you call it? Embiid might transition into article writing, right? Or being a great storyteller, right? He might transition into that. Kyle Lowry might open his own cheesesteak spot in North Philly. Eric Gordon might go to his country, the Bahamas, and try to open businesses. Brandon Ingram will be a good addition to the Absolutely, he already is a good addition to the Raptors. But I get what you're saying because he didn't really play a lot last season, so we didn't really see him. But next year, yeah, Toronto's going to be a problem next year. RJ Ingram and Scotty Barnes, yeah, that's a problem. He's a great compliment to the young, super talent, low IQ Scotty Barnes. Man, you gave him credit just to diminish it. That's crazy. Podcast P creates thumbnails using Canva. That yo, y'all killing me, man. This sounds like the ending of a BET movie before the end credits. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Paul George will transition into making podcasts. Joel Embiid might transition into writing articles and being a good storyteller, right? Daryl Morey might end up getting fired and, might purchase a stake in a different team or whatever, be a team owner or some shit. Nick Nurse might end up being a coach overseas. Kyle Lowry, he'll definitely open his own cheesesteak spot in North Philly. Eric Gordon is going to open his own airline in the Bahamas. And yeah, that's yeah. How could I ever take Podcast P serious if he makes thumbnails? I mean, you was making excuses for him, so why not take him serious? That is crazy though. Oh man, the Sixers are the laughing stock of the NBA. It's not even, and I'm not even playing. But yeah, I was warned, right? I was warned by a lot of people. I was warned by a lot of people, but yeah, I still believed in my team, and that's where we at right now. So, um, yeah, I really want to see how this ends. Like, I really want to see how this ends. Eric Gordon don't need to open anything. He already scamming the Sixers. I interviewed him the other day. He said, "I got a good gig right here." Oh, but I mean, yeah, he can. I mean, scamming the Sixers and then invest in that into an airline. That's a great investment in my opinion. Right? That's a great investment. So, yeah, an airline in the Bahamas. That's a great investment. Right? And then Kyle Lowry, his salary, he might open his own food truck up in North Philly somewhere. Right? That's gonna be a good career after basketball. Eric Gordon and Embiid about to open up a telemarketing company. Or Embiid might he might start his own youth team and show them how to flop and shit. I'll message him later. Yeah, y'all funny though, but yeah, I appreciate y'all for tuning in though. My guy Mike, the two mics. Yeah, it's not looking too good for us, but yeah, this is what the Sixers put themselves through. That's what Daryl Morey chose for the Sixers. And the Sixers they made their bed, they got to lay in it. So appreciate y'all for tuning in. Appreciate y'all. I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one. Salute to my guy Tuning Sports, Sporting Page, Rap Guy Reloaded, One Mike, Teacher Got Game, and a few others. I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one. Peace.